Hey guys, it's Brian at Sign Me Up Designs, and we're back working on the world's cheapest razor. So guys, we picked up this razor for under $1,000, and if you haven't seen the first episode, go back and rewatch the first episode where I explain how I got this thing for as cheap as I did. And if you haven't seen this thing before, this is actually a running and driving 2008 Polaris RZR 800, and when we got it, it was in extremely rough condition. One thing I did off camera, which you guys probably noticed, is a brand new radiator in the front. It was really easy to do. It was one hose here, one hose up there, and I think this hose and a couple bolts. So I didn't really explain how to do that. It was extremely easy. But that's replaced. That gives me peace of mind. This thing's going to be good to go when we get it out there on the trails. I've still got the bumper off this thing because today we're actually going to be putting on this 2,500 pound Badlands winch from Harbor Freight. So we're building this thing on a budget. I decided to go with the 2,500 pound Badland because actually you're supposed to rate your winch for 1.5 times the weight of this thing, and these things weigh about 1,000 pounds. So we're right at the 1.5 times the weight pulling limit on this Badland winch. We're going to be using this Extreme Max Products winch mount kit for the Polaris RZR. It looks like a pretty well built quality product here. It's got a nice fair lead extension right here, and then this is the mount bracket here. Super cheap. This thing was like 40 bucks, I believe. So with that and the winch, I think we rented this thing for maybe $130. So again, I'm not building this thing to go through super deep mud. That 2,500 pound winch is going to be perfect for getting us out of a jam if we need to. And if we got to pull somebody else out, it should do a pretty good job with that as well. I'm not going to go into the full details on how to mount this thing. There's actually some really good videos out there. But basically there's 2 bars mount here, there, and then the fair lead mounts up here in the front. And you run it out and run power and ground. That's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done and show you what it looks like after. All right, well that didn't last long. I don't know if you can see in there, but this bracket that mounts here has 4 bolts. This winch only has 2 bolts. So I think I'm gonna go by this plate and see if that works. I didn't plan on filming any of this, but I feel like I ran into something that's worth sharing. So these 2,500 pound winches are the 2 bolt kind, the one that goes one here, one in the back. Not the 4 bolt kind. So I had to run back to Harbor Freight and I had to get this deal right here. It's an ATV winch mounting plate. It was only like 7 bucks, but that will allow us to adapt a 4 bolt flange to this 2 bolt Badlands winch here. So what I plan on doing is mounting this backwards in here like this. This is the fair lead that would usually go on the front. We don't need the fair lead on this plate because it's on this plate here. So I'm gonna mount this to the RZR specific bracket for the 4 bolts and then run the winch on these 2 with the fair lead facing backwards. Also, one more thing, the fair lead that came with the Badlands winch is a little bit too small to fit on the supplied RZR mount kit. Again, I think that's because it's a 2,500 pound and this is meant for like a 3,500 pound or bigger. No big deal. Guys, I do stuff like this to show you that you don't necessarily have to use what you're supposed to use with the vehicle that you need. So what most people will do is they'll go get a 3,500 pound winch, spend an extra 50 bucks. You don't need to do that. All I need to do is just cut these holes out a little bit more, and I'm just gonna take a little grinder and cut them out right here, and this fair lead will fit right on like it's supposed to. So there it is, Badlands ZXR 2,500 winch on a Polaris RZR 800. So this winch does come with a wireless controller that I hooked up to my key here, but this is where I mounted the lead for the actual wired winch in case this thing ever fails. I just mounted it right up here in the little storage box. This thing will just sit here. I'll probably never need it, but just in case, there's where I mounted that. All right, we got more parts in. We got this nice stereo console. This thing is actually gonna be really cool. It sits perfectly flush, like in between the cage up here. And it's gonna look really awesome, nice and sleek. So we got that, but more importantly, we got new wheels and tires. So I decided to go with a little bit skinnier version. You'll see kind of the comparison there. It's just a little bit skinnier than the original size tires on the back, which is also gonna put it up a little bit higher too. I'm hoping I don't have to run a lift kit, but I might. But yeah, these things are gonna look really, really awesome on there. Not a bad price, like 550 bucks for the wheels and tires. It's a 25-inch Arisun tire. I've never heard of these before. Probably made in China, but oh well. So these are 12-inch wheels, and those are actually 12-inch wheels that come on the RZR from the factory too. But there are 12x6 in the front and a 12x8 in the back, and these are actually a 12x7 all the way around. So that's why the 12x8 tires are still going to be a little bit narrower because it's on a wider rim. Also, these have a 1-inch offset, so it should kick it out just a little bit more, but keep the distance between the rear tires about the same overall. I'm going to take a tape measure too and measure to the bottom of this receiver and see how much lift we get out of this just by installing the new tires. So it looks like we are right at just under 11 inches, maybe 10 7/8 inches. So we're going to see how much lift we get out of these things. I'm thinking maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe. So I was just looking this over here and I noticed this brake was dragging a little bit. Look at this brake caliper. I don't know if you can really tell, but oh yeah, that thing is bent. This thing is bent bad. So I gotta get me a new caliper. No big deal. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheels and stuff on for now, but we're definitely gonna have to order one of these. It's definitely higher. I think we were at what, 10 7/8, and now we're at 13 1/4. So what's the math on that? 10, 11, 12. Oh heck, almost 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches, I think. A little over 2.5 inches of lift just out of these tires. I don't know if I love how skinny it is in the back. Might take some getting used to, but we'll see. It might grow on me. If not, hey, we can always put different wheels on it. What kind of air pressure do you guys run in these things? All right, these things look really good, guys. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I'm running 8 pounds of pressure in these. I'm not really sure what you're supposed to run. I think somewhere between like 6 and 10, I believe. So I just kind of did a happy 8. From the side, man, this thing looks really good from the side. All right, let's move on to this radio console here. So here's what I got going on for the radio for this thing. Now, before you judge me, this is the cheapest 4-speaker and stereo setup I could find at Walmart for 30 bucks. Now, you get what you pay for with this stuff, but I'm putting this cheap one in there because if it gets wet, if it gets ruined, I really don't care. I'll just buy another one. Also, just the Bluetooth stereo was like 25 bucks, and then you got 4 speakers for, I guess like 5 extra bucks. But those speakers are garbage. We're not using those. We're actually going to use these MB Quart speakers for now. They're just some I had left over. Those speakers hooked up to this, I've already hooked it up. It sounds terrible. So obviously you get what you pay for. So we're going to run these MB Quart speakers instead with just the head unit from this kit here. So this console is actually nice because it has the speakers already cut for 6.5, but it's also got an area not cut for either a double din. You can run a double din or a single din here, whichever one you want. I'm going to kind of mount it down here, kind of on the bottom here in case somebody ever wants to add a double din later on. I might even add a double din, who knows? All right, got the speakers installed, and this is actually going to look really nice up there. So that's where the radio is going to go, and the speakers are going to sit just like that. Now all we got to do is just run a little bit of wiring. Let's get this thing thrown up there. All right, guys, next day here, I was able to get the radio up and mounted. Got the speakers in there, got the wiring started. One thing to mention is this did not come with any hardware, so I actually had to go run and grab some hardware that worked. In my case, I needed a, I think, 3.5 to 4 inch bolt for the front ones, and I think like a 2 1/4, I ended up getting a 2.5 on the back. I got some rubber washers as well to put down in there just to keep the water out of it as well. Another thing you might have noticed, we took the light bar down. I'm not gonna run that light bar. Matter of fact, I was waiting to do the rest of the radio because I ordered this 32-inch slim light bar. So I think what I'm gonna do is mount this light bar somewhere like right here instead of the other one we had. This is just a super slim, they call it a 6D, I don't know, light bar. It's supposed to look pretty cool. So anyway, now we can finish the wiring on that, and then we can get this console mounted up there permanently. Okay, so light bar is on, wires are run, stereo is up. This is just loose right now because I want to make sure everything works before I button everything up. Also, I'm gonna put some rubber washers up here, and I'm gonna put some Loctite on there, but I want to make sure everything works first. So one of two things are gonna happen. You're either gonna see me again, and I'm gonna tell you what went wrong, or you're gonna see a really cool video montage of everything working like it's supposed to. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. Let me know what you think by leaving a comment down in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything that we've got going on here. If you want to see any information about any of these bikes that you see right here, I've got a video for each and every one of them. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. It's _Brian Rogers. That way you can find out what's going on before I post videos to YouTube. So thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.